Hi there folks, my name is NovaWrap24 and welcome to the NovaWrap, your one-stop location for your simulation release news and goings on from the week that was. So here we are on Sunday the 8th of December 2019 and we are going to get straight into it this week after a few weeks off by going through the guys from DCS Designs have released their latest reboot of Moscow Sheremetyevo Airport for X-Plane 11. So this brings it up to V2, so it's been out for a few years, but then this is the major reboot of this one to bring it in line with how the airport appears in the latter stages of 2019, which of course require the removal of Terminal C. So yeah, it's a pretty big update. Also includes just a few performance updates, updated modeling as well, full implementation of animated jetways, marshallers, and visual guidance docking systems courtesy of the SAM plugin, whole slew of new custom animations and some dynamic lighting. And though there was no mention about whether there's any PBR texturing in there or not, which I don't know if DCS Design really does a lot of. So. So a bit of background, also funny enough, the airport actually was actually renamed, actually this year as well, which was kind of interesting, kind of cool. It was officially renamed in 2019. Beyond that, it does not include the city of Moscow. That is a separate purchase available also from DCS Designs for Moscow City X-Plane. So if you want to pick that one up, it's designed to work together. Otherwise, probably just a couple of things about pricing. If you are an existing owner of the original release of this one, there is a discount price available for you. Just purchase through the same store that you purchased the original from. Otherwise, if you're a new user, you're looking to pick this one up for a pretty standard price for DCS Design content, $25 US, or your original equivalent, available now from your favorite flight sim retailer. Alright, moving on with another X-Plane 11 release, and sort of still in the world of SAM. So the release of SAM World Jetways this week from the guys over at Aerosoft. Now, I was not going to lie, I was a little confused by this release when it came out, because I always thought that the SAM plugin was free, much like SODE is free for the ESP platforms, and does much of the same thing. It seems though that I wasn't 100% correct. So this is this particular SAM World Jetways add-on, which is $20 US from Aerosoft, by the way. Goes through it. Actually, it relies on the SAM plugin, which is free, but then adds other stuff to it. So like maybe a pro version kind of idea. It gives you the animated jetways for all default jetway objects have been replaced in the sim with animated versions. It replaces it for all default airports worldwide. Also includes animated versions of a variety of Mr. X library jetway objects as well, and replacement of said library objects throughout any airport sceneries that use them. It's also the menu system that it uses is fully VR compatible as well, and looks fairly aggressive. It looks for uses both an automatic or a manual connection mode when connecting to your aircraft. So kind of cool, kind of interesting. I don't fly tube liners, so probably not going to affect me. Probably for those of you who do, probably going to be more important for you guys. So, yeah, kind of interesting. $20 US from Aerosoft or your favorite flight sim retailer if you want to pick this one up. Available now. And continuing on with X-Plane 11 releases, but also serving as a gateway into ESP platform releases this week. The guys over at Orbix did a double release this week of, well, would you call it a double release? So they released the Tacoma Narrows Airport, but they released it across both various different, for multiple platforms. They released it for both X-Plane 11 and also for Prepared V4 as well. So it's the same airport, no differences between it, except one's X-Plane 11, one is not. That's kind of it. Yeah, it's pretty much it. So basically, it's a GA/BizJet airport. Doesn't have any scheduled RPT services. It's a 5,000-foot runway, which is pretty good for, so it's a lot of fun for GA airports, so for GA aircraft, and for your BizJets as well. Very nearby to SeaTac as well. It's only 18 miles to SeaTac. So very much a gateway airport. So if you wanted to go through exploring the Washington State and the sort of Pacific Northwest, this is probably going to be an airport that you do want to grab and pick up for yourself and put into your back pocket. No real differences between the two except for what they're sort of designed to work with. So obviously the X-Plane 11 version is designed to be compatible with True Earth Washington, whereas the prepared version is designed to work with the Pacific Northwest range of sceneries from Orbix, and also has seasonal support for Global OpenLC and Pacific Northwest. So pretty cool. So there's coming out for the same price as well, coming out for about $24 US. They are offering a multi-platform bundle pricing, where you get a 25% discount if you purchase the two together. So just click on the bundle pricing link on the product page on the Orbix's web store if you do want to pick that one up. Otherwise, yeah, looking pretty nice, pretty slick. Very clean buildings, very beautiful on both seams, looking great. Great airports to add to your collection if you're wanting to explore the Pacific Northwest region, which hopefully I'm going to get a better chance to do early next year, so stay tuned for that. Otherwise, as I said, both these are available now from Orbix Direct. And as I said, that did serve as a gateway into the ESP platform releases. Not that there were a lot this week. Really, there's only one other really notable release this week from the guys over at FS2 Crew. Have brought out their voice system services for their recently released PMDG 737 NGXU. Now, not going to go into this one. So as I said, FS2 Crew basically means that you get AI to be able to help you with you operating your multi-crew aircraft as a single person. So always really good. Does a couple of things. It says updated airline-specific standard operating procedures have been included for these and tested by real-world pilots. So that's always good to have. 3,500 sound files updated to go with the new aircraft, the new format, the new button clicks and whatever. Also designed to work out of the box with FS passengers, and also do some external ground equipment is also supported as well, and a variety of different flight formats. Now, what's interesting with these guys, which I don't think that they've ever really done before, is they're actually offering a early adopter pricing for this one. So if you actually pick this one up now, or until at least before the 31st of December, you can actually pick it up for half price. So the standard pricing is €40, but if you want to pick it up now, you can pick it up for €20. So that one's available now from the FS2 Crew store. Alright, moving out of the ESP world, moving into the world of DCS with the fairly surprising release, because it was only sort of like hinted at, I think maybe 2 months ago, of the JF-17 Thunder from Decker Ironworks Simulations. So what is the JF-17 Thunder, I hear many of you may ask. So that is basically a really interesting little fighter, which was a joint project between China and Pakistan to produce a lightweight, high-performance sort of fourth-generation fighter. And the JF-17, which, funnily enough, the JF stands for Joint Fighter 17, by the way, just as an interesting side note, was the result of that program. So originally, it was the program started back in the 80s, originally, and Grumman was actually part of the original project team. And then various, so it was Grumman and Chengdu, a Chinese aviation conglomerate. That was the original sort of partners for that, and then it sort of went sideways after Tiananmen Square and a few other sort of various political and economic embargoes on China. And long story short, we ended up having this aircraft being sort of designed jointly between the Chinese manufacturer Chengdu and the local Pakistan Aeronautical Complex Company. This was the result. It's gone through a couple of iterations, and it's come through looking pretty cool. Basically, it's a pretty interesting system. It essentially is designed to do very similar work, flies and operates very similar in a very similar niche to the F-16 does, but does it for about a third of the price. So which is kind of interesting. As I said, it's got an interesting history to it. Now, in terms of this one, as I said, this aircraft is come through. It's done the usual trick from DCS. It's coming out saying that it's early access, but reading through the planned and delivered feature list, it's pretty much got everything. The only thing that seems to be not included at the moment is the campaign for JF-17 in the Caucasus Theatre. Don't know how they're going to explain the Pakistanis are in the Caucasus. Really curious about how they're going to sell that one, but yeah, we'll see. And then the air-to-air refueling capability, which was a feature on Block 2 aircraft. So, speaking of, there's a lot. One of the things that DCS always sells itself on is how hyper realistic it is and how it's a study level sim. I hate that phrase. Anyway, there's not a lot of detail about what block or what version of this aircraft that this is modeled after. So there are subtle differences. So there was the initial low rate initial production, then there was the Block 1, then there was the Block 2, and then there's the currently in sort of not design phase, but it's definitely in sort of it's in implementation at the moment of Block 3. I'm assuming from the fact that they mentions they are planning to add in air-to-air refueling capability that they're talking about a block. This is a plan to be a Block 2 aircraft, but I couldn't confirm that anywhere. So if anybody knows, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Otherwise, it comes through with an accurately modeled subsystems, accurately modeled electronic systems, including the KLJ7 attack radar, a variety of attack advanced weaponry, including the LS-6 and GB-6 glide bombs and the CM-802 man-in-the-loop missile. It includes a fully functional rendition of the WMD-7 targeting pod and the advanced electronic warfare system, and including the KG-600 self-protection jamming pod. Full modelling of the data links have been included to be able to operate for JF-17s to operate between themselves and AWACS, as well as a variety of other things through that as well. Now, in terms of the localization, this is interesting as well, is that the cockpit is done in English. The radio and documentation is split between English and Chinese. So, which of course, as I said, its first flight was in China. Like as I said, it's a joint project between Avik Chengdu and Pakistan Aeronautical Complex. Currently only operated by the Pakistani Air Force and the Myanmar. I believe Myanmar Air Force has some of these as well. Though the Chinese are working hard to try and sell them under the FC1 and FC3 labels. So there you go. Anyway, I digress massively from that one. It's looking pretty slick, pretty sweet. Comes to a pretty standard module price for this one. So it says standard price for this one's going to be $80 US. Currently in early access, you're looking at $70 US, or your regional equivalent available now from either the DCS World eStore, or it was released simultaneously onto Steam. So if you are a Steam DCS player, you can pick it up from Steam, available now. Alright, moving out of DCS World and moving back in time with the world of IL-2 Sturmovik. They had quite a busy week for them. So they saw a couple of releases from them this week. The first one we saw was their latest in their Great Battles series, the Battle of Bodenplatte, which is actually, reading into the description, a little bit misleading because it's way more than just the Operation Bodenplatte. So Bodenplatte, for those who may not be aware of your history, was the name of a surprise German operation late in the war to actually sort of try and knock out Allied air superiority in Europe after the D-Day landings. To launch, basically, they wanted to launch a surprise attack to damage and destroy the Allied air power on the ground on the 1st of January 1945. But there's so much more to that in this one as well. That is part of the campaign, but you can also play. There are also some other campaigns that are as well, including supporting including flying support of Operation Market Garden, the parachute invasion of Arnhem, and as well as the Battle of the Bulge. You can also fly air operations that, as well as Operation Bodenplatte. So there's a lot going on through here. There's 3 campaigns have been included, including one for the Luftwaffe, one for the U.S. Army Air Corps Air Forces, and one for the Royal Air Force as well. A slew of new aircraft are coming through here. So you've got 8 new aircraft. You've got the P-47D, P-51D, Spitfire Mark 9E, and a Tempest Mark 5 Series 2 is going to be released. For the Luftwaffe, you've got a Focke-Wulf 190A8, the Butcher, and you've got the Bf-109K4, the G14, one of the last series of the G models, and the earliest, and of course the appearance of the MEs 262A, first model of that as appears as well. It's a very iconic aircraft, being the first jet aircraft to see operation in World War II. So it's kind of cool. It includes a huge map of Western Europe. You got over 200 cities and 70 airfields, all sort of in their accurate sort of wartime placements and formats. Includes a variety of custom quick missions included with there, along with a variety of quick mission builders and full custom single-player mission support. Scripted campaign support as well has been included, as along with a variety of other factors coming through here as well. So, looking pretty amazing. I always do like the IL-2's definitely sort of had a mixed bag over the last few years, but I think this latest generation of IL-2 content is really incredible. It's like looking really great. This of course is a bolt-on to IL-2 Battle of Stalingrad, which is of course the core game here. So if we wanted to pick this one up, this one's coming in at about $45 US, or the original equivalent, available on Steam. Now, with other, as I said, there was a slew of releases from IL-2 this week. Now, along with the Battle of Bodenplatte, you also saw two what they call collector's aircraft, so some of their other aircraft that comes through here. The first one was one for the Allies, which was the P-38J, is included for this one, and the second one was the Dora 9, for the Focke-Wulf 9 Dora 9, the long fuselage one, used primarily as to sort of harass enemy Allied bomber formations. One of the most powerful piston engine aircraft of the war as well, so they're really kind of brutal. Both of these come out with a variety of liveries in various aces, along with a full accurately modeled flight models and all the rest of it. Each of them coming in at about a fairly significant price. I suppose not bad, especially when you consider it compared to like DCS World aircraft. You're looking at about $18 US, or original equivalent, available now on Steam. And in the fourth and final release for IL-2 Sturmovik, they've gone the other way in time this time, with their release of their Flying Circus Volume 1. Now, for those who may have guessed, Flying Circus, of course, refers to the fact that they have gone back in time to the First World War. And funny enough, they're actually, because I didn't realize this, but the team that is doing IL-2 and this mod, specifically this mod for this expansion pack for IL-2, is the same team that brought Rise of Flight together, which is really cool, which is they're probably the greatest World War I sort of flight sim kicking around out there. Now, this one's come through, gives us 10 World War I aircraft from 5 from the Germans, 5 from the Allies, along with over 10,000 square kilometer map of the Arras sector, including all the major cities, towns, airfields, and the infamous no man's land of the front lines of the trench warfare. Includes again custom single players support, scripted campaign support, and a variety of different modes, and a full update and full set custom physics are included as well for these aircraft as well. Like there is something weird and cool about flying World War I aircraft. I must admit that, like even flying like there's a Tiger Moth flight. There's a Tiger Moth in IL-2 that you can fly that is incredibly realistic. I have to say that. So there is something about that. Anyway, so this pack is huge, as I said, and some interesting choices as well in the aircraft. As I said, you got 5 from the German Air Force, Imperial German Air Force, and 5 from the Allies. 4 British, 1 French. So you've got the Fokker DR1 triplane, of course. It wouldn't be that. The FAS D3A, Albatros D5A, Fokker D7, and the Halberstadt CL2. For the British and the French, you've got the SPAD 13C1, the SE5A, the Sopwith Camel, of course, and the Bristol F2B, and what is possibly the most interesting addition for this one, the Sopwith Dolphin. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think this is the only rendition in any sim of a Sopwith Dolphin, and I'm really impressed that they picked such an odd aircraft to pick, because I've known about it for years, but I used to build models, and a good friend of mine had to scratch build a model of one. So yeah, it's kind of fascinating the picks. That's cool. Anyway, moving on. But yeah, as I said, look, this looks absolutely insane. So if you wanted to a real change in pace of what you're doing for your aircraft, it's going to get a lot slower, then this might be one for you to pick up. So this one's coming in about $70 US, or your original equivalent, available now on Steam. Alrighty, moving out of flight simulation and moving on to the permanent, moving on to the ground level. With this, we're not going to move to the permanent way just yet, but we're moving on to the roads though, with Euro Truck Simulator 2 seeing a couple of releases this week. So the first one we saw released this week was the Road to the Black Sea, which is their latest region that they've released. Now, this region comes out with over 20 new cities, over 10,000 kilometers of new roads to drive on, 20 new companies to drive for, and 11 new docks and industries as well. A whole slew of custom 3D assets, custom regional and localized vegetation AI updates, and some horse carts for Bulgarian and Romanian countryside, which is fascinating. I didn't realize that they was still so widely used. Anyway, there you go. That's interesting. Now, beyond that, this is this looking pretty again, this usual quality that's come through here. Just like, it's amazing the quality that goes into the Euro Truck Simulator games and the American Truck Simulator games. It really is. I've got them sitting in my library. I really do need to pull them out at some point. But yeah, if you wanted to expand on to the Black Sea roads, you can pick this one up and add this to your system for a pretty standard price of $18 US or your original equivalent. Available now on Steam. Continuing with the Baltic theme, there was also a release of a accompanying paint jobs pack for Bulgaria this week as well. Pretty standard for this one. You get 4 new liveries for your trucks for this one. Pretty simple, pretty basic. Not going to go into it there. Coming in for $1. Show your country pride, or go through some trucks for the region specific if you so desire for $1. There you go. Right, that was easy. Done. Next. Alright, sticking on the open highways again for another release from TML Studios for Fernbus Simulator. This time we saw the release of the BB40, which is a minibus. I got nothing. It just fascinates me. Like, it seriously does. There is a simulator for just about everything these days. Anyway, so yeah, Fernbus Simulator, the BB40 is a perfect choice for transportation of small groups of passengers, maneuverable, efficient, and agile compared to larger buses, make it ideal for your trips and even later for fast-paced routes. Includes fully remodeled rendition of the BB40, including 6-gear automatic transmission, analog dashboard displays, none of this modern glass stuff. Do you call it glass cockpits in cars these days? I don't know. I still drive like a 1980s Pajero, so, you know, I've definitely got old steam gauges. Anyway, moving on. Folding passenger doors model, seats to up to 22 passengers, interactive lights, indicators, wipers, horn, old school air conditioning. How can you tell that that's old school in Sim? Anyway, no bells and whistles except a makeshift navigation via a tablet. It is the 21st century. I'm reading the press release here. It's great. Anyway, so yeah, kind of cool. Best part about this is it's a free release. TML Studios do some whack stuff. They really do. And they've released it to the community for free. So that's awesome. Well done, guys. Thank you very much. In their other release this week, they also released did another one of their double releases. They did a release of the Scania Touring Bus, and they released it for both Tourist Bus Simulator and for Fernbus Simulator. And again, like they've done with their previous releases, you buy it once, it'll work in both sims, which is kind of cool. In this package, you get the Scania Touring Bus in all 3 of their versions, the 121, 129, and 137, adding it to your vehicle pool, all officially licensed from Scania. Includes full accurate modeling of the 8-gear automatic transmission, reactive dashboard displays with information about speed and readiness for departure, stop brake with startup interlock, which I didn't realize that they had, which is kind of cool. That would also explain when I did that bus holiday where we had to stop. Anyway, moving on. Detailed interactive cockpit with various camera perspectives, including driver monitor, kneeling system, usable driver window, and sun shield. Full lighting system, both interior and exterior, and interactive controls for doors, luggage compartment, hatches, and more. This is coming in at a pretty standard price for $13 US or your original equivalent. Available now on Steam for Tourist Bus Simulator and Fernbus Simulator. Alright, moving from the roadway, moving onto the permanent way now, as I said before, with the release from Train Simulator. Saw the release of their latest route add-on of the Welsh Marches, Newport to Shrewsbury. So this is a line. This line originally started in the 1850s and sort of grew on to be about 100 miles of train line that dances in across the English-Welsh border. It became originally was very much a freight-focused line, but becomes very much more of a passenger line as time has gone on. Now, with this release includes a lot of stuff here. You get 98 miles from Newport to Shrewsbury, includes 9 authentically recreated stations, including a variety of iconic surrounding buildings and custom countryside, including the iconic Severn Bridge Junction signal box, which is the largest operational mechanical signal box in the world. There you go, kind of interesting note for that. Along with that, you also get a slew of rolling stock, and more importantly, you get 5 different actual motive units. You get British Rail classes 43, 47, 66, 70, and 175. So 4 of those passenger ones, 1 is a freight one. You sort of get a variety of rolling stock for that for your experience as well, along with 10 career scenarios. So you get a lot of bang for your buck in this one, coming in for $40 or your original equivalent, available now on Steam. Moving out of the permanent way and moving to something that's a little bit more sinister, but very much part of our world these days. You saw the release this week of Counterterrorist Agency. Now, this is an interesting release for me, and I've got mixed feelings about it. It's very topical in the world that we live in today. And it comes to us from the same developers that brought us 911 Operator, which is a title which I've talked about and I've reviewed in the past on the channel here. And I found that title to be fantastic. It'd be a very important title that I think that everybody should actually buy and play. This one, I feel, is one of those ones which I think possibly people should play, because it asks a lot of questions that I think maybe a lot of the time we feel uncomfortable talking about and asking as well. Like, where is the line? How far do you go? And that was one of the things that I really liked about 911 Operator, was the fact that you had to deal with a lot of things. You had to think about the impacts of your actions just on that and how it affects people in the real world. And this seems to be much like that as well, as much as you can, into that gamification of learning. So, as I said, I've got mixed feelings about it, but it could be interesting. As I said, it comes from a developer with a good pedigree of it, and very much in the same style. Possibly more of a detective sort of story, but it still has that sort of dispatch style part of it as well. So, could be interesting to see what people think of that one. This one's available. If you do want to pick this one up, that one's available for $16 or your original equivalent, available now on Steam. Moving back to the wheelbase, but moving on to the dirt this time. The Dirt Rally 2.0 saw the latest release of a new track this week, with their release of the Linden Hill Rallycross track this week. Not really much to say about it. Codemasters are terrible for releasing information about what they release. Like, they're absolutely shocking. They literally put out this one screenshot that you're seeing. That's it. Nothing. I'm like, really, guys? Can you throw us a bone here? Anyway, so yes, if you wanted to pick this one up, it gives you the new track, which is located in Kent in England. It will be... I can't even tell you what game mode is available in, because it doesn't even tell me that. Okay, so, yeah, good luck. $4 regional equivalent, available now on Steam. Right, moving on. Next. Alright, so finally, to round out the NovaWrap this week, we've got 2 releases from Fishing Sim World Pro Tour Series. So, the first one we saw the release this week was Talon Fishery, which is touted as the epitome of an English pleasure fishing complex, giving 4 separate lakes in one venue. So each one has different type of fish for you to fish and try and catch, including carp up to including a carp of over 30 pounds in the main central lake. The other release that we saw from the Fishing Sim World this week was the release of Lucre, which is Ireland's very most famous fishing spot for big brim fishing, and is very much designed a place for catching a PB. So it's about 18 acres of history-steeped fishing lake, including very much of some historical places, including ancient stone walls and mature foliage, giving rise to fish in excess of over 20 pounds. So that's heavy fish. That really is. Anyway, each of these packs are available for $8 each, or you can pick them up together and get a 25% discount by picking them up together. Available now on Steam. And that wraps it up for the penultimate edition of the NovaWrap for this year. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget, as always, to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed these videos and want to see more. And, of course, as always, you can catch up with me and all the things I'm up to between videos by finding me on Facebook and on Twitter. Just search NovaWing24. All right, folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.